right, guys, welcome back. This is going to be our second tutorial video. This is going to be Festive Birds. I've been really excited to do this one. It's going to be a little bit different because we do have a lot of these circles and these little pieces right here that's just one sequin. I was going to sequin them, but honestly, I think it would be easier to show you because some of these circles I'm actually not going to stitch down. I think it looks a little weird when they get stitched down, so I've decided to leave those off. Another part that we're going to learn to do is this cording right here, which will also be in a separate shorter video. And then it's also going to be these bead purl lines. I'm going to show you how to do those, which I'll also separate into a smaller video, just so, you know, if you need to use it, you don't have to forward through a lot of things. We do have a new rig set up, which I will show you in a picture later. I think it's going to be a lot more beneficial than the other one that we had, which was a little bit kind of weird. So this is going to be exactly showing down, which will be a lot nicer. So far I have went ahead and sequined and embroidered the stocking, much like we did with the last one that we did. I do want you to pay attention when you're reading these instructions because it will say to sequin the sock. All the beads except for these two beads on the top are going to be white. These are actually going to go part of the little birds that we're going to be doing here. So just make sure that you do pay attention and that you are looking at not only the picture, but you're also looking at your design chart, which is really going to help you with how to place sequins as well. So we did our first steps, which is going to be the sequencing the stocking and embroidering it. We're going to go ahead and stick our stuff over here. I've already got our colors separated on our color card. And I've also made sure that we have our sequins separated. I had to use two because there's quite a bit of different colors in this one this time. And of course, we also have our Fisker Easy Action scissors. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and try to do as many steps as I can today. It's going to be a lot of cutting out these circles and kind of little funny shapes. So I'll make sure to skip ahead in those as well. So the second step is telling us to personalize, sequin, and applique the stocking cuff. So I have got the stocking cuff here that I've already sequined. These are going to be the red sequins. I haven't personalized it yet. You guys know that I normally personalize at the very end. Plus, I do like to sell these, so I'm not going to obviously put a name on it right now. But I went ahead and added the sequins here. Now it's telling me to applique it. I'm actually going to wait to applique this. If you know the name, please go ahead and embroider it. You will be appliquing it right here as normal. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add the 3, which is this piece, on separately. And then I'm not going to cord this until I know that it's going somewhere. So the cording, I'm actually not going to show you on this part, but I'm going to show you around the toe later on how to do that. So all right, so I'm actually not going to applique this on here, but I am going to put my number 3 piece on, which is this. I've already added the pearls onto it. There is cording that goes right here, but since I'm not appliquing this on right now, I really don't want to add them until the very last minute. If you're going to be doing this right now and putting the braid on, just kind of skip till we get to this part, which is the toe, which is when I will be putting the braiding on this section. Okay, so right now I'm just going to add this and work on my cuff. So I'm going to add, let me move in a little bit closer. I told you this new rig is phenomenal. So we are going to add in this part, and then we are going to be adding our circles on here as well. Okay. So I am going to add a couple of straight pins in here just to kind of make sure that it stays in place, especially with these long skinny pieces. They do kind of have a tendency to move around, or sometimes they'll actually stretch as you're holding it. I have a tendency to kind of pull. So I do like to pin it to make sure that it just stays in place to where it's going to go. Want to remind you that if you have embroidered this already, please make sure that you have already had this attached. So instead of doing it how I'm doing it, you would be actually sewing this piece straight onto the stocking. We are going to sequin applique the circles to number 4. So I actually have them here in this big sheet of felt. I did not pre-cut them out because I didn't want to lose any of them. You're going to have these many and one little dot for your red sequins on the inside. So what I'm going to do is, instead of sewing the entire circle down, I'm just going to put a sequin through it, which is going to be a white sequin. Normally, which is what I really like about what they changed about this, is it would follow the same color as the felt. But in this case, they changed it up a bit, which I really, really like. So let's get ready with our white sequins, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out all these red dots. And I can't help it. I have to do the TikTok thing. Oh my gosh, ta-da! It's YouTube magic. All right, guys. Enough with the fun jokes. Okay, so this is what I do. So I actually turn my dots over. I know that sounds really weird, but for some reason, I feel like it kind of helps a little bit. I don't know. It's just a weird thing that I do. And also, in case I've left any white stuff around the edge that I can't get off, it kind of covers it up. So I'm just going to, and you don't have to turn it over. It's just something that I do. I go up, like I've shown you before, down, back up again. Oh, and it actually pulled the knot through there. It's okay. We'll clip it off. All right. So it's going to be white. And I have to say, sometimes you'll notice that your white sequins stick to your fingers a lot. What I like to do is I actually will rub my fingers on a dryer sheet before I dump them out, or I use them sometimes if they're sticking relatively bad. I'm not entirely sure, and it's sure why it does that, but it's kind of funny because it's only the white ones that ever stick to kind of anything. So I got my white one on here. What I've done is I actually knotted it individually on the back, because instead of cutting it and then re-knotting it, I'm just going to go to the next one. it looks like we are done with our circles. I know it does say to applique the circles to the scallop edge, but like I said before, I really like how they kind of stick up and they're not sewn down. I like to hide my stitches whenever possible, so I'm not going to do that. The next step is attach a piece of gold braid to where the scallop edge meets the stocking. Use one strand of gold floss and a running stitch to attach the braid. So this is going to be your braiding right here. It's so pretty. I haven't even opened it yet. They do such an amazing job with these embellishments, but this is the gold braiding. And this is going to go here. When it's ready to be attached. Like I said, not going to do it yet. I'm going to show you down here when we do the toe, which is going to be kind of like right now. And what I really like about this stuff is it looks like it's pretty heavy duty. It looks like they've taped the end, which is actually what I think I might do. And it also seems like it's very pliable. So I don't know, maybe I'll just fold it. We'll kind of see what's going on when I get there. I've never attached this gold braiding, so it's going to be kind of a learning curve for both of us, okay? Which is what I always like. So I'm going to pin this here for right now, just because I really like how it looks. And now we're going to go to the next one, which is sequin and applique the scallop edge to the toe of the stocking, which, look guys, it's already done. It's going to be red sequins. I really am going to stress that you really need to pay attention to the design chart and what color sequins you are putting on these pieces, because this is not the norm. Normally, like I said, you are going to follow the color scheme of the felt. This is not the case with this one. This one, the colors are totally different for sequins versus pieces. So you're really going to want to pay attention to what goes where. And the color sheet that they send you, this is really going to help too. It's kind of what I like to use whenever I'm double checking to make sure I do have the right sequin colors. This is going to be a big one, especially placement 2. So please make sure you are watching out to where certain things are going. All right, so we got this scalloped edge put onto the toe, which I totally love. I do kind of wish that maybe it was ruffled, like it wasn't sewn down up here, but I still really, really like it. Maybe on the next one that I do, maybe I'll leave it up and maybe stick some yellow tulle or something in there, but this looks really nice too. So then you're going to applique the toe. It says to applique the toe and then add the embroidery. I did not do it that way. I feel like it's easier for me when I work on these pieces to cut the piece and do the embroidery first. That way I don't have a huge stocking and, I'm going through multiple layers of felt. I really like to kind of have it up close to my face where I can, stitch easier. And then with these pretty gold beads, I double knotted them on the back to make sure that if they got snagged, they didn't come off. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, it turned out so good. You know, it's weird because with the white, whenever I do outline stitch, sometimes it can get really blocky. But with other colors like the greens and blues, the outline stitch just it's just so nice. So this, I'm just going to go ahead and pin on here. I've been trying to get the ornament kit that goes with it because there are ornament kits that go with it. I'll show you a picture here. Boop. And unfortunately, they are like almost always out of stock. So hopefully we'll be able to do those as well here soon. The next step is to add the braid here. I did check on the instructions and it just says to sequin and applique, or I'm sorry, applique the toe to the stocking and then add the embroidery and the beads. It does not say to add the braid. I did check the rest of the instructions and I don't see anything that says to add the braid to the toe. So we are going to be putting that step right here. So I have used probably about, I don't know, maybe half an inch that's going to be going here because you're going to want to make sure that you do leave some on the end so you can fold it underneath like here, because that way you're not going to get frayed edges. Another good thing would probably be to get some sort of like fabric glue or something to put on the end to avoid the ravel if you are going to cut it straight to the seam. But I'm actually going to fold it over. So it's going to continue around the back. Like this. And it's almost got like a wire in it, so you can kind of like pinch it. You see that? How it pinches on the ends? And we're going to do it the same way that it says up at the top, which is we are going to use one strand of gold floss and we are going to line stitch it around. So let me get this pinned. I'm just going to pin the ends here. Well, I actually might pin one in the middle here, just so we can know where the edge is. Like right here. There we go. So this is the gold thread, this like yellow looking thread. And I believe I might have enough to actually do it. I thought that they would add some sort of gold thread like they've included in the past, but that stuff can kind of be a bugger to sew with because it's almost like a wire. So I'm going to start at this top edge here. Do you see how we've pinned it? We folded it over each end like this. Like I said, if you don't want to do this, you are, more than welcome to do it however you'd like to do it. But I would definitely fabric glue the end if you're just going to butt it up against here so it does not ravel. So I'm going to go up. Oop, look at it already is like coming unbraided. So I'm going to make sure that I add a couple of stitches in here. Oh goodness. All right, so let me go in the back here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to whip stitch these down. So I'm going to whip stitch this one, and I'm going to put a knot in it to keep that guy where it needs to be. Excuse my dog barking. And I'm going to stitch these two down as well. And I'm going to put a couple stitches in here because I do not want these guys moving around. And I'm going to knot it too. I think what we might have to end up doing is like they actually did, maybe putting a piece of tape on the end just to kind of hold them together might be beneficial. But I am also going to come up through here and sew it down on the edge. Down through the back. And I think that'll help the braid to like sewing it on that edge. It looks like this gold floss is actually matching up pretty well. You can't really see it much on here, which is good. Because I'm definitely going to get this pinned down. All right. So now we got that gold edge down. So we're just going to go up through the middle of this braid, kind of where they intersect. And we're going to go straight kind of down inside. So that gold floss is actually almost going to be hidden in that braid. So I am starting to buckle a little here, if you can see how it's doing that. So I'm just going to kind of like stretch it a little bit more, poof it out, try to get it evened out a little bit while I continue sewing through here. Which I guess since it is kind of like a harder material than the felt, I would just double check as you're going through to make sure that it's not, you know, it's not pulling so bad that you're not going to be able to fix that in the future as you're sewing it down. And then the good thing about it too is since we have left a little bit at the end here, this is taped down, but if it did pull enough, we would still have space to kind of like give a little bit more onto the stocking, you know, if something did happen to where we would have to let it out a little bit more, which is, I also think, a really good way or a really good reason to kind of have that overlap instead of it cutting it straight, you know, to where it starts. So I'm going to go up through here. Now I'm in that tape. Which is going to make my needle sticky. So what I think I might do is I'm just going to go in through the side here. Oh, we're in a pickle. I'm running out of thread too. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the ends right here because I'm going to need more thread to tie that end down. I'm thinking not putting the tape on there and just sewing the end down like we did on this side is probably going to be the best way, unless, you know, you don't put tape all the way through it. You just put a small piece of tape on there and then sew the part that doesn't have any on there down, I guess. So I'm going to go back through here again now that I have more thread. Just make sure that it's really sewn down. Our braid is on. Oh, guys, look, it's so pretty. And you can't even see that gold floss. You can't even see it on there. Oh, that's great. Okay. So we're going to go through steps 10 today. Now that we have the braid on the toe, we are going to applique pieces 7 and 8 to the stockings. You're going to have a lot of double pieces. Like the 4s are all going to be these circles right here. And your 8s, you have 1 7, you got 2 9s, you got 2 10s. So just make sure that when you're kind of looking through these that you see, you know, everything that's kind of going on with the numbers, because it is going to get a little confusing since there are a lot of double numbers. So your 7 and your 8s are going to be under gold sequins. Okay, so like I said, we've double checked. They are for sure gold sequins. I'm going to use the gold floss because with these bigger pieces, I am going to stitch them down. I'm going to use a beading needle and I'm going to stitch them down and bead them all at once. 7 goes here in this little filigree pocket. I'm going to double stitch this on just so none of our sequins get pulled. There you go. And then we are also going to do it with our 8 and 9. 8 goes here, and an 8 goes here. It's going to be the other dips in that filigree. Now that we have 8s on, we're now going to do 9s and 10s. 9s are going to be these big circles here, and they're going to go here and here on our stocking. 10s are going to be the dots, and we're going to put a white bead on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sew down my 10s, or I'm sorry, my 9s, and then I'm going to do my 10s just like I did here. I'm not going to sew them down, only because, like I said, I really like that 3D effect. I am going to sew the 10s down only because I think it might look a little bit nicer since I sewed the scalloped edges down on here. It's all up to your own interpretation. Please feel free not to listen to me about putting these on. It is totally up to you if you would like to stitch them down or not stitch them down. Normally, I kind of take creative differences with my circles. I know it sounds totally weird, and I'm so sorry, but that's just the way I've been doing it for a long time. And I am going to go up through here. Knot it again. Now remember guys, this is going to be steps 1 through 10. And we will be picking up very, very soon on our next steps. But right now we've done the cording and we've gotten kind of the base down here. We are going to have some few little more lovely things that are going to go on our stocking itself before we get to our festive birds. We got our base pretty much done. It's going to be stunning once we get these little birdies on here. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'm here all the time, and I love to talk about Bucilla and the crafting world. So have a great day, guys, and we'll see you soon.